If you're researching the best probiotic to take after antibiotics, what I'm about to tell you may completely change how you think about gut recovery. Because recent studies found that certain probiotics may actually delay recovery of the gut microbiome after antibiotics. And interestingly, some probiotics may support gut stability different than others. If you're watching this video, no doubt you've probably taken a course of antibiotics and now you're trying to figure out how do you restore your gut after the fact. And inherently you start researching what are the best probiotics to take while you're on the antibiotic or right after you conclude the antibiotic. You often end up with options that are using multiple different bacterial strains or that contain extremely high dosages. And the assumption behind this is that you disrupted the microbiome, your gut microbiome, and if you have more probiotics, you're going to restore that environment faster. However, the newer research around the microbiome is showing us that the microbiome is far more nuanced than that. And interestingly, certain probiotics actually end up delaying the recovery of your microbiome as opposed to helping it. So what that tells us is that recovery is not simply about adding more bacteria, because not all of the probiotic bacteria behave the same. And this starts to raise a question of, should you be aggressively trying to repopulate your gut after an antibiotic, or should the strategy be to stabilize the gut environment during that recovery phase? In 2018, an article came out in the journal Cell that showed that probiotics delayed the recovery of the microbiome after antibiotics as compared to just letting the microbiome recover naturally. And this changed the assumption that probiotics are automatically restorative post-antibiotics. Now, don't take away from this that I'm suggesting that probiotics are useless. They're not. They definitely have their application, but it also makes us ask, what probiotics are we trying to restore with, and what specific outcomes are they going to have? And this finding in 2018 was not in isolation. In fact, there have been more recent observations. The two that I came across in addition have been out of the journal Nature, which is a highly respected journal. But this additional microbiome research was able to conclude very similar types of things. And what this says is that the recovery of the microbiome is not simply about just adding back more bacteria and trying to repopulate with as many species or as much quantity as possible. And it also suggests that when you have a reduction in symptoms, so what would that mean? Well, if you think about after an antibiotic, diarrhea is very common after an antibiotic. So if that is the symptom you're experiencing and you've experienced a reduction in that symptom, that is also not telling you that the environment of the gut has been completely restored. Remember, when you look at antibiotics, they are going to disrupt the entire ecosystem of the gut. They're indiscriminate between good and bad. They're just taking out bacteria. And ultimately what that means is that it's going to allow certain organisms to begin to bloom or to populate faster after that antibiotic is discontinued. And so right along with that, you also begin to see that some of the changes that occur to the beneficial microbiome also result in changes in function of what's going on in the gut. And these studies that I referenced a bit earlier, one of the things that they repeatedly found is that there was a depletion of what are called butyrate-producing organisms. Now, what is butyrate? Well, butyrate is a short-chain fatty acid, but most importantly, it's a key fatty acid that is going to maintain the integrity of the intestinal barrier. It's going to optimize immune system function. It's going to stabilize the overall gut environment, and it actually becomes a fuel source for other bacteria. So interestingly, it is both a pre and a postbiotic. So it's produced by bacteria, but it also is going to stimulate the activity of bacteria, but it's also going to work on the gut lining at the same time. Now, when you take all of this information and you put it together, what this ultimately means is that this is not about asking what bacteria should I add or how many bacteria should I add. What we should be asking instead is what microbial functions were disrupted and how do we support those? When you think about adding bacterial probiotics, and you'll see why I'm mentioning bacterial probiotics shortly as compared to other forms of probiotics, but when you add bacterial probiotics, you're introducing large amounts of organisms, of outside organisms at one time, right? So this is different than what you would see as opposed to just letting those bacteria naturally recover in those populations manifesting slowly over time. This is the opposite. You're introducing a large amount of those bacteria all at once. The microbiome is already altered and unstable after you use antibiotics. And some of this newer research that I was alluding to is going to suggest that recovery is not always about replacing the bacteria as fast as possible. When you think about just native recovery or your natural recovery, if you will, what you're actually seeing is that there's signaling that takes place within the gut ecology. All these bacteria are working together, and you have this state of microbial imbalance that's trying to shift more towards a state of microbial balance, but it's doing it as a slow, consistent evolution and not simply just as an aggressive bacterial repopulation. You can see the contrast between how it occurs naturally versus when you attempt to do it supplementally. And that difference may also explain why certain probiotics delay that return to a normal microbial composition. So what this says is that simply thinking in the context of repopulation does not equate to recovery. Now, I mentioned that butyrate producers decrease post-antibiotics. So when you're looking at immediate bacterial repopulation, you're really not addressing this functional deficit of not having available butyrate. That gut environment is still lacking all the metabolic support that butyrate offers. And so this brings up an interesting strategy where we can begin to think about direct support with butyrate. Butyrate is going to support the environment in a way that is universally restorative, but you're also filling a gap that is not able to be filled because the bacteria that produce butyrate haven't restored back to their inherent levels. And now what you're doing is providing that butyrate until they can catch back up. And that's really about trying to support the environment as opposed to trying to reinforce a repopulation effect. It's just a totally different approach of what you're doing after an antibiotic. And so when you look at trying to support an earlier recovery, this is really about stabilization, maybe as a better approach as compared to repopulation. Let's talk about that difference I alluded to earlier about bacterial probiotics versus non-bacterial probiotics. And this is where we'll get into a conversation about Saccharomycesboulardii. It falls into a different category altogether. This is not bacterial based. This is a beneficial probiotic yeast. It's a fungal based organism. And when you look at the research of using Saccharomycesboulardii post-antibiotics is really good, and even using it during antibiotics because the antibiotics aren't killing the fungus, they're killing bacteria. So this is going to be something that can maintain gut stability even while you're using antibiotics, and it also eliminates that conversation that often comes up, should I take probiotics while I'm using the antibiotic? You don't even have to think about that because now we're talking about fungus and not bacteria itself. And when you don't have if you're using Saccharomycesboulardii while you're using the antibiotics, you're going to avoid the major microbiome disruption that often comes. So some of what you're trying to accomplish with using a bacterial probiotic after an antibiotic, you don't even have to really think about some of those factors when you include in Saccharomycesboulardii while you're taking the antibiotic. Now, if you're watching this after you've already used the antibiotic, that's fine. You can still get a significant benefit from Saccharomycesboulardii. So don't let that be a deterrent to you here. But remember, the goal after antibiotics is not repopulation. I'm going to say that because that's such a key shift mentally of how we have to look at what we do after an antibiotic. There's just so much assumption that has been geared around you want to repopulate with bacterial probiotics after using antibiotics, and we're seeing that maybe that's not the best strategy here. Maybe the better strategy is let's look at how do we stabilize the environment of the gut as opposed to just repopulate it, and Saccharomycesboulardii supports that story very well. Just to reinforce this point about why more is not always better, this common assumption that stronger probiotics equals better recovery, well, we're seeing that doesn't hold true. You don't automatically see a better outcome simply because you chose a higher dose or you chose a formulation with a label that had numerous strains on it. And that's especially true when you're talking about the instability that often comes after an antibiotic. Instead, we want to think about how can we support the microbiome in a way where it's ultimately trying to stabilize the ecosystem in the gut. Think about it as that you're stabilizing the environment. You don't want to just dump a lot into an unstable environment. You want to create stability and then bring those organisms in if necessary. But in many cases, you can just let the natural bacterial species evolve when you're using strategies, for example, like with butyrate supplementation or with the Saccharomycesboulardii. And it's very fine. It's completely fine to use both of these together. There's no contraindication for doing that. I recommend that for patients all the time, and it's very effective. But it is not a forced repopulation. It is an optimization of the environment. So here's your single follow-up action. Stop asking what probiotics should I take immediately after antibiotics and start asking what functions in my gut do I need to support until it fully recovers. Recovery after antibiotics may be more about restoring stability and the environment than immediately trying to replace bacteria. And this is where the probiotic conversation becomes much bigger than most people realize, because the next question is not just which probiotic to take after antibiotics, but whether taking a probiotic every single day is always helping the microbiome the way people assume.